When Keanu Reeves was 3 years old, he lost his father. When he was 29, he lost his best friend. Before his daughter was born, he lost his girlfriend in a car accident. He didn't say anything during it all. He let it go. He went on. But he couldn't forgive one person because they had hurt him too much. He finally said the name out loud after 60 years. Even his best friends were shocked when he finally did it. Because no one thought Keanu's biggest enemy would be the person they were. Everyone loved that person. Keanu Reeves was born in Beirut, Lebanon on September 2, 1964. The city was almost in a state of chaos at the time. In a little more than 10 years there would be a civil war that would last for 15 years and break the country apart. Patricia Taylor, his mother, was born in Britain, and designed clothes for work. Samuel Reeves was his father. He was Hawaiian Chinese and a scientist, but when Keanu was only 3 years old their plans for a future together fell through. His dad left and never came back. Everything changed at that time. He moved around a lot as a child, and his childhood was full of new starts as well. Keanu had lived in 4 different countries by the time he was 10 years old. He had lived in Beirut, Sydney, New York, and finally Toronto. There are no roots or real bonds, there is only constant movement. His mom tried her best to start over with their lives over and over, but each place they lived felt like a short fix. Going to school didn't make things better. Keanu didn't know he had dyslexia, which made reading and writing hard every day. He went to 4 different high schools in a row from 1979 to 1984. There is Etobicoke School of the Arts, De La Salle College, Avondale Secondary Alternative, and then a school for the arts. He was lagging behind. His teachers said he was lazy or distracted. There were D's and F's on everyone's report cards. He quit school when he was 17. It looked like he had failed, but playing was the first thing that helped him find something that really fit him. Things were not much better at home. Because of her dating life, his mother met a lot of men who seemed like they could be father figures, but none of them stayed. One of them, director Paul Aaron, married Patricia when Keanu was about 11 years old. He even tried to get Keanu interested in acting. It seemed like he might have had someone. But they got a divorce. It happened over and over again. A new man, some peace for a while, and then another goodbye. Keanu quickly learned that he could only depend on himself. He saw his real father one last time when he was 13. It took place in Kauai, Hawaii. They hadn't seen each other in 10 years. The get-together wasn't warm. There were no hugs or sorry words. It was just a quiet, awkward get-together set up by family. Samuel had been stumbling through life, having trouble with drugs and unstable work. It didn't go anywhere after the meeting. And Keanu never saw or talked to him again. In 1984, Keanu was 20 years old and trying hard to become an actor. He got a job with CBC as a youth reporter, which meant that he would cover events and talk to kids for local TV. Even though it only paid $200 a week, it led him into the world of entertainment he really wanted. Behind the scenes, he was always trying out for roles, taking any part he could find. One more thing stood in the way. His name. He was told that Keanu was too black by agents. It works in Hollywood but not here. He was told to change it. He went by Casey Reeves or Casey Reeves at auditions for 2 years. It made him mad. The name Keanu comes from the word for cool mountain breeze. He was born that way. He stopped using fake names in 1987 and chose to be himself again, even if it meant getting fewer roles. In that year he got a part in River's Edge. It was real but not very big. It was his. Keanu had been the goalie for the school hockey team when he was at De La Salle College. People called him the Wall because nothing could get through him. He was steady, calm, and unwavering. He was a good goalie, 2.1 goals against average, and in 1982 he helped his team win the title. His performance would later show that he could keep calm and calm. The directors saw it. Keanu wasn't flashy, but he didn't break when things got tough. In 1984, when he was doing everything he could to stay alive, he needed that focus. At one point he was acting in a corny Coca-Cola ad while trying to be a cool dude at the beach. It brought him $2,500. The next second he was giving a free Shakespeare play at night. His role as Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet was in a small theater in Toronto. He did everything he could. It didn't pay the bills that people said nice things about him. He was both embarrassed and angry at the same time. In the same year he got a small part in a Canadian low-budget show called Hangin' In. He played Wolf, a troubled kid. It was meant to be his big break, but things went badly. It was hard for him to act. He forgot the lines. Simple scenes had to be filmed more than once to get them right. He was only in 4 shows before he was written off. It really made him doubt himself. He even thought about giving up acting and playing hockey again. He didn't give up though. He learned something from that mistake that he will never forget. You can't lie about it. You need to plan, show up and be yourself. What made him one of the most beloved artists in the world was how real he seemed. The part that made Reeves famous was in the 1986 movie River's Edge, which was dark and scary. It was based on a true crime that happened in a small California town in 1981. Matt was a quiet kid played by Reeves, who had to decide if he should tell the police that his friend killed his girlfriend. The movie didn't hold back. It showed how dull and cold young people could be. It was a risky choice for Keanu's first big part, but he did well with it. On screen he kept his cool and seemed detached, like a detective from an old film noir. He didn't scream or cry, instead by holding back he showed how deeply he felt. In the end that control became his identity. The movie made Keanu famous and won Best Picture at the Independent Spirit Awards. After that, something no one saw coming. Everything changed in 1989 after Bill and Ted's Great Journey. It was loud, funny, and took me back in time. Ted was played by Keanu Reeves. Ted was a dull but nice high school student who just wanted to pass history. He was cast by mistake with Alex Winter, who played Bill. At first the writer thought the characters were weird metalheads. They changed the parts though after seeing Keanu and Alex together. They became best friends in real life because they got along so well. The movie almost didn't happen. The first studio went out of business while the movie was being made. It was saved just in time by another company. It was not thought to work. The director even skipped town during the first weekend because he was afraid it would not do well. But people loved it. The $10 million movie made $40 million at the box office. Keanu became a comedy star all of a sudden. Quotes from the movie kept coming up. It became normal to say things like great to each other and party on dudes. Ted was naive but nice, and Keanu played him with all seriousness. That made him nice. Soon people who didn't like him before began to pay attention to what they were saying. They saw that he had something valuable. On the screen he was beautiful. A follow-up movie, a cartoon, a TV show and even breakfast cereal were all made from the movie. It showed companies that Keanu could carry a movie, which was more important. That made everything different. People first saw Keanu in Bill and Ted, but he didn't just do comedies. At the same time he took on more serious parts to show that he could do different things. In the 1988 thriller Dangerous Liaisons, which was set in France in the 18th century, he worked with famous actors like Glenn Close and John Malkovich. It took $14 million to make the movie, and made $34.7 million. 7 Oscars were up for it, including Best Picture. Keanu played a young music teacher who fell into a web of lies and schemers. It was a big step up from playing Ted, and it showed that he could play complicated people. After that he made Parenthood in 1989, which was a touching comedy drama directed by Ron Howard. Keanu played a lonely but nice young guy who was dating a single mother. Big names in comedy like Steve Martin and Rick Moranis were in the group. Keanu did well with them. The movie was based on true family stories and was up for 2 Academy Awards. People in Hollywood respect Keanu because he plays smart, serious parts in between his big-budget comedies. Ted never really left him though. People laughed a lot during that part. It changed how people thought about Keanu. Ted wasn't brave or smart, but he was honest and nice. He never did something wrong. He was awkward, but he had a good heart. That mix became what Keanu was known for. He wasn't like other boys in major roles. He wasn't trying to be tough or cool. I could relate to him. He thought he was a real guy. That's why people got along with him. Keanu stayed true to that picture even after many years had passed. When he came back for Bill and Ted Face the Music in 2020, he fought against making the characters dark or dangerous. There were plans to add flaws by the writers, but Keanu told them they couldn't. He was right too. Even though Ted and Bill were middle-aged dads, they were still silly and honest. That sense of right and wrong wasn't just part of the job. It was Keanu. Something strange took place in 1991. A movie about surfers who rob banks became a cult favorite. Don't think of Point Break as just another action movie. It cost $24 million to make but made over $83.5 million. Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze were in it. But there was something else going on behind the waves, gunfights and excitement. No one saw it coming. Even though the movie was full of excitement, there were hints that the 2 main male characters were deeply in love with each other. Later, reviewers said it was the best action movie ever with a female lead. Some people even said it was a wet western. It was something that everyone couldn't stop watching. Johnny Utah is a fake FBI agent played by Reeves. Bodhi, the zen-like surfer who led a group of bank robbers, was played by Swayze. At first glance it looked like it was cops versus thieves. But there was a strange tension there, a strong bond that felt more like desire than loyalty. The camera kept coming back to them. The action felt close. People saw that their friendship was more like a relationship than a bond. Even the name, Point Break, which comes from a surfing phrase, felt like a metaphor for how duty and desire can make you feel bad. After many years, The Fast and the Furious would use the same story. Point Break was the first to do it though, and they did it with heat. In the same year, Reeves made a huge turn to the left. Along with River Phoenix, he was in the movie My Own Private Idaho. It was a creepy, strange story about male whores. Phoenix was Mike, a sleepwalker who was trying to find home. Reeves played Scott, a rich kid who lived on the streets before going back to his good life. It only cost $2.5 million to make, but it made over $8 million and was a part of a trend called New Queer Cinema. Phoenix won the Venice Award for Best Actor. Everyone was shocked when Reeves played such a risky part. He kissed another man on TV when he was very famous and never tried to explain it away. The movie was lyrical, honest and really beautiful. It had both Shakespeare and everyday life in it. It used dream scenes and stories with broken timelines. It wasn't meant to be a hit. It was made to say something. It made a strong point about sexuality, class and identity. It became part of the National Film Registry in 2024 thanks to the Library of Congress. It would always be a part of history. But not everyone was cheering for him as his fame grew. People turned against him. Empire magazine made fun of him by saying that he gave his best act ever. CNN said he didn't have any skills. People made fun of his calm, spaced-out speech and his tendency to say whoa. Some critics thought he was getting parts he didn't earn. They made it clear that they thought he wasn't ready for it yet. After that, Speed came out in 1994. When Reeves cut his long hair, the studio went crazy. They were afraid that fans wouldn't know him, but John DeBont, the director, said it was the right thing to do. Fox almost put off shooting. While making it, money ran out. Rough storyboards were used to show some scenes to test groups, but they didn't care. They really liked it. The budget went up to $30 million because Fox gave them more money. The movie got to #1 right away. It made $350 million around the world and $121 million in the US. It earned more than The Rock. It was almost better than Die Hard with a Vengeance. Reeves was a big star after the first movie, but he turned down the chance to be in the follow-up. Speed 2, Cruise Control, which bombed badly and lost over $100 million. One bullet missed Reeves, but not all of them were shown on the screen. James Reeves played the lead role in Francis Ford Coppola's 1992 film adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula. On paper, the movie looked great. A big group and a big budget. But when Reeves tried to speak with a British accent, it became funny. They worked with him. He practiced over and over again. The speech, on the other hand, was stiff, awkward, and weird. Coppola later said that Reeves tried really hard to chill out but just couldn't. The performance got a lot of attention. People who teach acting still use it to show students how not to do an accent. Even though the movie did well, he couldn't get rid of that one feature. Reeves was hurt more by River Phoenix than by anything else. They met on the set of I Love You to Death in 1990. It worked. And when My Own Idaho was casting, Phoenix almost said no, but Reeves wouldn't let her. That's why he got on his motorcycle and went over 1,300 miles from Toronto to Florida to talk to him in person. Phoenix told him, "I'll do it if you do it." That's what they both did. Hollywood wasn't used to seeing that much loyalty. Following that, on October 31, 1993, everything changed. Phoenix passed out outside the Viper Room after taking too many drugs. He passed away before anyone could help him. He was only 23 years old. At that time, Reeves was making the movie Speed. Sandra Bullock had a good memory of it. She said she saw him cry alone. She told him that he was too shy to hide the fact that he was shy. He changed because of the pain. You can't just leave that kind of sadness behind. The whole shooting plan had to be changed by director Jan DeBont. Some days Reeves was too hurt to act. He shut down and became quiet. An article in Entertainment Weekly called Keanu Reeves the next action star. But inside it was about an actor who was carrying something heavy. Bullock said she saw sadness in his eyes that wouldn't go away. Phoenix's death wasn't the first thing Reeves lost. It was in the middle of a set. He had already lost his dad when he was a teen. He had already been left alone. Phoenix was meant to be unique. He was to be a brother and best friend. It broke something to lose him. In the end, Reeves said Phoenix was tired. He said that he was coming off of film after film. It's very hard. In my mind and heart it did. The way Reeves lived changed after he learned that. He turned away from the noise in Hollywood. He famously shut himself off. Once he rode his motorbike across the country to save a roll of film. Now he won't talk about Phoenix at all. He often stops in the middle of a statement when asked an interview. He once said but then he stopped. He looked down and smiled. That was it. He never talks about the specifics. He once said, I'll never talk about them. They are too private. He's not trying to get attention by killing Phoenix. He doesn't use the past to make money. When they don't say anything though, you can hear the echo of something that never got better. It's a kind of loyalty that you don't see in most stars. In 1997, Keanu Reeves shocked everyone in Hollywood when he turned down Speed 2. The first Speed made $350 million, even though it only cost $30 million to make. Fox paid Reeves a lot of money to play Jack Trevance again. He said no after just one look at the plot. His reason? The movie took place on a cruise ship. He is said to have said, it's called Speed and it's on a cruise ship. A cruise ship can only go about 30 miles per hour. The bus in the first movie had to go faster than 50 miles per hour. Reeves thought the idea as a whole was flawed. It would lose the drama and sense of urgency that made the first movie a hit. Fox didn't take the turn down lying down. In fact, they put Reeves on a bad list for 14 years. He did not work for Fox at all from 1997 to 2008. The penalty was harsh and related to the person. They even said he was skipping movies to go on tour with his rock band Dogstar. One thing they didn't expect was for Reeves to do even better while he was away. The 3 movies he was in together made him $250 million and made him a culture icon. Fox missed out on one of the biggest stars of the next 10 years in the end. The thing that Reeves did instead made his choice even stranger. He didn't go to Canada to make another movie, he went to Winnipeg to play Hamlet on stage. He gave up a big-budget remake to see a Shakespeare play in a small theater. He didn't mind that he wasn't paid nearly as much as he would have been for Speed 2 though. He told GQ he wanted to do something important. Most actors want to be famous and rich, but Reeves chose to have a reason. That didn't happen very often in the 1990s. It was the best proof yet that he was right the whole time. Speed 2 was a terrible movie. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a score of only 4%. Some people thought it was too slow, silly, and painful to watch. Kids also thought it was silly. It went from $100 million to as much as $160 million in spending. In the US though, it only made $48.6 million. The Razzies gave it the award for Worst Remake or Sequel. It was also up for Worst Picture, Worst Actress, and Worst Supporting Actor. In both words and money, Reeves had jumped off a ship that was sinking. Being put on a blacklist opened him up. After leaving the politics of a big studio, Reeves looked for new jobs. It was fun to work with brave directors like the Wachowskis. His life changed after The Matrix, but he also did smaller movies where he played bad or evil people. He shocked people with his role as a cruel husband in The Gift. He even gave up pay, just to work with greats like Gene Hackman and Al Pacino. He stopped looking for money. Trying to grow was his goal. By 2008, Fox had finally given up the ban. Reeves didn't need them anymore though. He was now one of the most well-known movie stars in Hollywood. The Matrix itself had a crazy beginning. Neo didn't choose Reeves at first. He wasn't even the third or second best. He was the last ray of hope. Everyone was tried by the makers. You name it. Sandra Bullock, Will Smith, Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, Johnny Depp, Nicolas Cage, and more. They needed help so badly that they offered to change Neo into a woman for Bullock. All the big names turned them down one by one until Reeves said yes. What was the result? History. It came out in March 1999. Check it out. And made $469 million with only $60 million in costs. It got 8.7 out of 10 on IMDb from more than 2 million views. It got 4 Oscars. It brought bullet time to movies. Shades and long coats were cool again. Simulators and the red pill came up in conversation. It wasn't just a movie. It happened all over the world. But there were fights in The Matrix too. The Wachowskis had a big idea for the movie. People weren't batteries in the original plot. They were parts of a neural network, which is like a live computer. The studio changed it because they thought people wouldn't get it. People were instead turned into power cells, which was not a logical idea from a science point of view. Hollywood wanted things to be easy. The movie lost some depth because of this. Some people say we missed a much deeper telling of the story. Then there were follow-ups. Both The Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions, which came out in 2003, made a lot of money. Reloaded made $739.4 million around the world. R-rated movies made more money than ever before. The fun didn't last though. Fans are confused by the story. People were confused by the famous scene with the builder. Revolutions didn't really answer anything. It felt like the ending was missing something. People left feeling let down. Keanu later said that he knew why people were mad. A lot of fans thought the sequels ruined the magic of the first movie. And the reaction hit Reeves hard. After the follow-ups, Reeves had another rough time. People began making fun of his acting again. His acts were called wooden by critics. People thought he was just a lucky guy. Feeling Minnesota chain reaction and The Last Time I Committed Suicide were some of the movies that didn't help. The Matrix helped him get his job back on track, but it was beginning to wear off. He was lost for more than 10 years. The movies moved on. Then out of the blue, John Wick came out in 2014. He came back right away. An exciting new type of action hero who is stealthy, dangerous, and cool. People loved him again. Reeves had made it through every turn. Abandonment, rejection, and loss. He used everything as fuel. It wasn't just movies that took him on this trip. Being true to himself was important to him. He walked away when other people played the Hollywood game. He found new ways to make a living after companies put him on a list. He came back stronger after everyone gave up on him. Keanu Reeves never thought that someone he used to trust would be the person he would regret the most in Hollywood. In 2000, right after The Matrix became a huge hit, he was suddenly stuck making a movie he had not planned to make. The name of it was The Watcher. He knew something was wrong as soon as he saw the deal. His name was on the project, which meant he had to do it even though he was sure he had said no. Someone else signed that. Not him. It was fake. Even worse, someone they knew did it. It came from a friend or someone close to him. It wasn't just a mistake or misunderstanding. It was planned. This person saw his private papers and used them to get him to make a movie he didn't want to make. At the same time, Keanu was going through some mental pain in his personal life. Jennifer Syme was having her own problems at the time of his relationship with her. There were two things Keanu could do about this deception. He could go to court, fight the contract, and have the whole thing shown to everyone. Instead, he could do it in silence and keep his peace. He picked the second choice. He shot The Watcher even though his gut told him not to. The movie was a wreck. It cost $30 million to make but only made $29.1 million. Reviewers ripped it apart and Rotten Tomatoes gave it a terrible 11%. Keanu seemed stiff and uninterested in his acting. That makes sense. He didn't want to be there. He later said the movie was awful and that it was the worst time in his career. It was never found out who made up his name. But Keanu changed the way he did things after that. Agreements, faith, and friendships. It was a painful lesson in how easy it is for people around a major star to take advantage of him. Things were also going badly in his personal life. They met at a party for Keanu's band Dogstar in 1998. She worked for director David Lynch and was only 26 years old. Their link was made right away. They quickly moved in together, and she was pregnant with their daughter within a year. They were going to call her Ava Archer Syme Reeves. But Jennifer gave birth early on Christmas Eve 1999. Ava died at birth 8 months early. It was the worst time of their lives. Even though it should have been the best. The sadness was too much to handle. Jennifer got help for her postpartum sadness from a doctor. It hurt too much. For the first time since Ava's death, they stopped seeing each other. Keanu stayed away from her, but he never really left her side. They stayed close. He meant for her to get better. Jen, on the other hand, started drinking and going to parties. She fell down. They did start to talk again in early 2001 though. They were going to try again. They even had brunch together in San Francisco on April 1st. She wasn't there the next day. Jen went to a party at Marilyn Manson's house that night. Manson had someone drive her home after she got drunk. But later that night she chose to drive herself back for some reason that no one fully knows. There was an accident with her Jeep on Cahuenga Boulevard. She wasn't fastened to the safety belt. She died when it hit her. She was 28 years old. They tried to call her again in the morning but couldn't. He called the coroner's office and asked if she was there. The crash examination brought up some troubling facts. Jennifer had 2 prescription drugs in her car. She also had 2 folded dollar bills that were covered in white powder. Police were told by her mother that she had been depressed and in pain from a car accident. She had also lost her grandpa a month before. All of that sadness built up. Her mother sued Marilyn Manson, but the case didn't go anywhere. But what had already happened could not be changed. Keanu didn't say anything for years. His job got less interesting. He was in a few movies after The Matrix that didn't do well. Henry's Game, The Lake House, and The Day the Earth Stood Still. The movie business had almost given up on him by 2014. People thought his time was up when he was 50. Then John Wick came along. It wasn't thought to be a hit. There wasn't much money for it. Only $20 to $30 million. The movie wasn't bought by Lionsgate until 2 months before it came out. But the movie went off. It made $86 million. It got great reviews. Keanu looked great in the part. Still quiet and dangerous. The creators of the movie built the character around him. They didn't say much and instead focused on his appearance. It worked. He was seen differently by others. Keanu got a second chance in Hollywood because of that movie. As of now, John Wick movies have made more than $1 billion. It is planned that he will play the part in at least 6 movies. It turned out to be the best part of his whole career. But not everyone were happy for him when he did well. In his book from 2022, Matthew Perry attacked Keanu without a reason. He didn't understand why great stars like Heath Ledger and River Phoenix had died but Keanu Reeves was still alive. It wasn't a game. Perry went even further and brought up Keanu again while talking about the death of Chris Farley. The public's response was quick and harsh. It was hard for everyone to understand. Perry and Keanu had never worked together or done anything to each other. Perry did his best to explain. He said he liked them, which is why he chose that name himself. It wasn't really bought. Someone hurt me deeply and the attack came out of the blue. Keanu didn't answer. He never does. He has always been quiet and strong even when things go wrong. Keanu Reeves has been through betrayals, sadness, death, and insults from the public. He doesn't get angry. He's strong in public. He doesn't stop. He's made a name for himself and his business by getting through things that would have broken most people.